Hi everybody, my name is Robin Robinson, and if you stick with me for a couple minutes, you're going to hear a pretty amazing story. I'm standing here on Omaha Beach, here in Normandy on the north coast of France, and as everyone knows, on June 6, 1945, this was the Allied invasion of France in order to conquer, eventually be victorious over the Germans and the German army and Nazism. And on this very beach, on that day, was my father on one of those landing craft. As a matter of fact, he was in the first wave of those landing craft, a 19-year-old kid from a small town. And like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of others of 19-year-olds, they were put together in these big barges, standing there as they came across the channel and then landed here on this beach, where they would drop the front end of that barge, and they rushed out in order to fight the Germans, who were shooting at them from this bluff above me right now. And so there he was, crawling through the sand, being shot at, explosions, death everywhere. No one really knows what that was like until we see the first 30 minutes of Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. That's when you really get to understand the brutality of what they went through at that point. But while he's crawling through the sand and trying to keep his self together, his wallet came out of his pants and fell into the sand. Now, of course, he didn't realize that. He had other things occupying his mind. But he kept crawling forward there, and eventually his battalion and that invasion won the day at the beach, defeated the Germans at the beach, and they took control of the beach. Well, what happens then in the next 2 days is that the salvage team comes in. And this is a set of engineers and other people who are experts in reclamation. And some of them had the grim task of tagging the bodies that were on the beach and identifying them. Others would pick up different material. It would be helmets or guns, and they would place them on one pile or another, personal effects on another pile. And while going through the sand, one man on that team, a guy named Joe Chiodo, found my dad's wallet. And he picks it up and he looks inside the wallet, and instead of putting it on the pile of personal effects over here, he slipped it into his jacket. And eventually, as we all know, the Allies were victorious, the war was over, and all these men went home to start their lives. And Joe went back home to start his life, and he went back home to his hometown, a little town called Homestead, Pennsylvania, where his brother had a bar, a tavern. And it was a tavern next to a massive steel mill, the U.S. Steel Works. And so it was a very, very, very busy place. And so Joe comes back there and he's working. And a few years later, he's at home and he's going through a box of some personal effects, and he comes upon this wallet. And he automatically knows what happened here. The reason he kept this wallet was because when he looked inside, the address of the man who lost the wallet lived 3 blocks away from him. And so, thinking he's going to return this wallet to this poor man's family, this fallen soldier on a faraway beach, he walks the 3 blocks down, knocks on the door. My grandfather comes to the door. And he says, "Mr. Robinson, I've got your son's wallet." My grandfather says, "Well, which son?" "Well, it's Clyde's," he says. "Well, hold on, I'll get him." And Joe's stunned, and the next thing you know, my dad comes to the door, and he goes, "Hey, Joe, what's going on?" And all Joe can do is look at him and point and go, you, because my dad has been drinking in Joe's bar for the last 2 years. Because when he came home, he got a job in the mill, and this was the place where all mill workers went after their shifts. So my dad never had to buy another beer in that bar for the next couple of years, as you can imagine. My dad, unfortunately, passed away when I was about 15, on my way to the 16th birthday. And he didn't really leave much, but he did leave this story. And interestingly enough, my entire life, I've been a storyteller. I'm fortunate enough to actually make a living as a storyteller for other people. And it all comes back to this story. Was the legacy that my dad left me on this beach in Omaha, in Normandy, in France. So what I brought with me is a wallet. And inside of that wallet is the story that I just told you. And I've got a plastic bag here. And I'm going to take this wallet and put it into a plastic bag. And I'm going to bury it somewhere here on this beach. Because a story like this needs to be discovered and rediscovered and rediscovered over and over and over again. My name's Robin Robinson. My dad was Clyde W. Robinson Jr. and Joe Chiodo was the third member of this story. And it is a small, small world indeed. So let's honor all of these brave men who fought and died, gave their lives, and maybe dropped a wallet or two.